guys, just getting Puck out the door, off to work. This is a morning appointment, which is not like me. So even the dog's like, why are we going out at this time of day? I'll talk you through the dog when I've got him in the car. Come on, let's go. Let's go. There we go. Good boy. Did I just lock it? I did lock the door, yeah. Come on then, in the car. Yeah. Oh, it might help if I open it, eh? Might help if I open it, dude. See, it's too early for all of it. And we're set. Set and ready to go. We've got a bit of a drive, so you can snooze in the car before we get there. I am off to, I think it's got a Bristol postcode, but I think it's more Gloucestershire. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a bit of a drive, but that's all good. We're used to that. And today I am seeing a rescue dog. They've had the dog for about 8 months, and it's a collie cross terrier type mix. They're not really 100% sure what's in there, and she's called Chloe, and I'm sure she's very lovely, but she's very nervous of strangers. So I'm going to be walking into a bit of territorial aggression and lots of barking. Apparently she's not actually bitten anyone, but they are worried that she might do, and it can be try and kind of nip rather than savagely bite, if that makes sense. So yeah, so we're going to need to be dealing with that. And then, which is very, very common for dogs with territorial aggression, once the person is in the house, she'll be okay unless they move around. So we see this a lot. Obviously, you go in, the dog calms down, you sit down, everything's chill, but as soon as you stand up to go to the loo or whatever, or if you're overly demonstrative with your hands, you know, it just freaks her out again. She gets scared and starts to bark again. So that's fairly typical. We're gonna teach them how to sort that out and do a lot of work with the doorbell, people knocking on the door. I don't know if they've got a bell or if it's knocking, but we'll do a lot of work around that and around getting her comfortable with new people in the house. Obviously it's great because I am a new person, so I will see firsthand exactly what's going on and be able to teach them how to get that resolved. So that's the first part of it. She's also got some, again, completely connected and understandable, some barking and guarding issues, you know, if people walk past or whatever. So that's all very much connected. And then outside, she can be a bit dog reactive on the lead. And I've written down 0 recall from distractions. So I'm at the moment, they're not able to safely let her off the lead, so obviously we need to get that sorted. Now this is our package E, which is our biggest package. So I have got 4 one-to-ones with her and 2 pack walks, and when we've got plenty of sessions and plenty of time like this, I will, because obviously today's session could be quite difficult for the dog, and what we don't want to do is overstimulate her, get her really overwhelmed and ridiculously nervous. So what I normally do with these packages is the first session I'm going to focus on the house stuff. I want to be able to get her calmed down, raise her confidence, go through the leadership structure, which is going to deal with all of that, and then make sure that the household stuff is going really well. We'll also today make sure that she can be walked nicely and easily on the lead and isn't getting worried about other dogs and isn't getting worried about strangers on a walk either, because apparently she's fine and won't go to them, but if they come up to have a conversation or certainly try to stroke her, she would not be happy with that at all. So my focus today is going to be on the territorial aggression, the household issues and the lead walking. Now, if we get time and I feel the dog is comfortable enough to do a bit of work on the recall, then we will make a start on that. But it's not my priority today, because providing she can do lead walks happily and easily, being off lead is not a massive priority for the first session. We will get to that, but I've got another 3 one-to-ones with her. So what I would normally do is focus on household and lead walking in the first one, and then in the second session, which is another quite a big session, we can then spend a lot of time, once those things are under control and a lot better, we can then do a big focus on the recall from distractions. So that's how I'm expecting things to go. Now obviously if it turns out that she does really, really well, she's looking confident, and we have time to do a bit of recall work, then we will obviously incorporate that. But it's one of those things where you don't know till you get there. So that's what I'm expecting this session to be mostly involved in, and just making sure that the customers are understanding house rules and boundaries and leadership and what people tend to do. And I don't know, I could be talking nonsense here because I've not met these people and I don't know how they're trying to deal with it, but the vast majority of people, when we go out and we've got a dog that's really nervous like this, just because it's human nature, people will try to comfort and reassure the dog when they're scared. But the problem with that is dogs have been conditioned since puppies that when we are praising them, we're fussing them, we're talking to them, we're stroking them, or if you live in Bristol, smoothing them, which is something I had to learn when I moved here. I'd never heard of the word smoothing in terms of fussing a dog, but yeah, that's what they say. I've got used to that now. So I need to make sure that they understand that that's not a good idea when the dog's scared, because if the dog is used to having all of those things done as praise and reward, the dog can't possibly understand that you're now suddenly doing it not as praise and reward, but as comfort and reassurance. It doesn't make sense. So fussing, smoothing, stroking the dog, talking in a lovely reassuring voice, it's all right darling, it's all right, good dog, calm down, all of that, which is what I'm used to. And like I said, these people might not be doing that, I don't know, but that's the common thing, and that just makes it worse, because as far as the dog's concerned, they're feeling really nervous and they think that they are being rewarded for that. So this is where, with behaviour work, it isn't just about behaviour. This goes into what I'm always banging on about, which is state of mind. There's no point rewarding the dog for doing a good behaviour if whilst they're doing that behaviour, their state of mind is still nervous or messed up. Yeah, because then you're just rewarding that state of mind. So I know that sounds counterintuitive, but if a dog is lying down, for example, and you're thinking, oh, that's great, it's lying down because it's calm. Well, not necessarily. It could be lying down because it's learned that that's a good idea to attention seek. It's a good thing to do. It could be lying down because it's scared, lying down in a corner. You don't want to be rewarding that unless you know for certain that the dog genuinely is chilled. So I think that's probably going to be a big part of it, is helping them to understand when it's a really good time to fuss the dog and talk to the dog, and times when that's just not going to be helpful to the dog in any way, because our instincts will always be comfort, which means cuddle, fuss, all of that stuff that we would do with a child. But the difference is that kids speak English and dogs don't. So kids know when you're saying it's all right darling, calm down, and dogs don't. So yeah, that's going to be a big part of it as well, is helping them to understand when we get to the rewarding part of things and when we need to not be rewarding and either ignoring or doing something else instead. Quite often ignoring isn't enough, because then they're still stuck in that state of mind. So sometimes we have to correct them and snap them out of that state of mind to make them feel better. And again, people struggle with that idea because they're like, well, you would never tell a child off for being scared. But a dog would tell a dog off for being unnecessarily scared. That's nature. So this is why we have to use nature as well as the science of learning theory, all 4 quadrants, to ensure that the dog is actually learning properly and helping them to be confident at times when they were previously nervous. Anyway, I could bang on about this obviously for ages, so I'm going to go and see this lovely nervous dog, and I will take some videos and then let you know how it all goes afterwards. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you'd heard the knock. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I did.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay, Chloe. Yeah. Okay. Good girl. You got your muzzle off and everything. Yeah. You don't trust me 100%, so I'll stay over here. But what I'm loving is I've stood up and moved, and you're not growling, which is amazing, isn't it? You're a good girl. You're so good. Do you want treats? Hey, what's this? What's this? There you go. Good girl. Well done, Chloe. Well done. Oh my goodness. You're being ultra submissive and showing your belly. Oh, is this good? Eh? Are we being happier with me? Let me get a little bit closer and not get freaked. Well done. You see, new people are nice, aren't they? Yeah, they're nice. Good girl, Chloe. Good girl. Right, now we've done a bit of training with the doorway and with the territorial barking, so we are going to see what happens this time when I knock on the door. Not a peep, not even a bark. Wow.
Hi, come on in, please ignore the dog.
Who hasn't even come to the door. So she's just chosen to go in there and chill out on her own. Oh, look at her, such a good girl. We didn't even ask you to go in there. You just thought that was a good plan, did you? Oh my God. That is amazing. That is amazing. I told you she'd be clever, didn't I?
What?
So quick. I know. Instantly.
I realise it was silly that it's been going on for so long.
Well, no, of course not. You didn't know how to do it. You can't expect that. Come on, you can do it. Come on. You can be brave. Yeah. Oh, you're going to go past me and go straight to Mum. Yeah? You can have it. Oh my goodness, what a brave girl. You big brave girl now. Yeah, you got a new friend, Chloe.
Life.
Would she normally, I mean, I take it she's not
No.
taken streets off a stranger before.
No, she wouldn't.
That's amazing then.
That is amazing.
What a good girl. What a good girl. We brought you out here to be naughty, but I don't think you're going to be naughty and bark at anything, are you?
Yeah, there's no.
Oh, you are? Okay. Okay.
I can't believe you're fast enough.
There we go. Good girl, Chloe. Good girl. But you'll notice again, I'm not making loads of eye contact.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's getting the treats, and I'm also sideways onto her. Yeah, I'm not facing her.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything that might be perceived as threatening or worrying. And she's nicely having a sniff. Are we besties now, eh?
I can't believe it.
I'm not making any prolonged eye contact, so there's nothing for her to feel threatened by. You're so good. Yes, you are. Am I just the treat woman now? Yeah? Am I the bestie one because you get all of the nice food and I'm not scary anymore? Good girl. Good girl. See, even then, she looked at me and yeah, I gave her a little bit of eye contact, but I didn't prolong it.
Yeah.
I don't want her to suddenly get scared again. If I'd have carried on staring then,
Yeah.
that could have been an issue. Good girl. Good girl. It's so nice to be able to fuzz you. Oh, I do have to stand up there because Jesus, I'm too hot for this. Yes, I am. Than I am about the videos. Come, come. Yay, good girl. Are you suddenly working for me as well? Sit, wait, go a bit further. Good girl, yay. Good girl. Oh my goodness. She's like, yay, I'm so good, mummy. That way.
Really?
Yeah.
Good girl, Chloe. This is so good.
Having you behind us.
That's all right. I'll walk on the side then if you don't like me behind you. There you go. It's me, look. Yay. Good girl. Good girl, Chloe. What's this? What's this? Oh, yay. Good girl. Christ. It took me an hour and a half to get you taking treats out of my hand, and now that's all you want, eh? Yeah. Good girl.
She was clever.
She's so... Yeah, you're between them. She's chilled. And she can have a treat. Have you got any treats left? Beautiful. Because she's been nice and calm. Totally slack lead.
Oh, I think we've eaten it.
Come here. You have one for me. You have one for Mummy. Totally chilled. You can get a little bit nearer if you want to. And you can let her have a sniff. But if you're going to let her have a sniff, it's for no more than about a second.
Okay.
So that she doesn't suddenly get nervous.
Right.
Or over playful. Yeah. You can just watch in my pouch. She's just literally like... I'm the new person. Can Puck have one, please? So, it's all right, Bubs. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, because the thing is as well, I know he's going to be fine, but if someone else is giving their dog a treat and then she goes to that treat, that dog could be treat possessive.
Yeah,
It
sure.
quite often happens, you know, issues with food, so you don't want her going to sniff the other dog's treat in case the other dog doesn't like it. She's so good.
I tell you,
She's
what it
such a
is.
quick learner.
It's now.
Right, guys, okay, that was wonderful, wonderful session. Oh, bless her. Ona was lovely, Gemma, so over the moon, and we made incredible progress with Chloe. Actually was able to stroke her, which I think felt like a miracle. No stranger has ever been able to stroke her before, apparently, so that was really lovely. So I mean, you'll see in the videos what a change. I mean, literally like a completely different dog with the knocking on the door, because once we'd practiced that, I think we did it once, and then she just went, yeah, I'm just not even going to bother barking, and that's all good. And she actually took herself off to her crate, which we didn't even need her to, and just settled down. So really fantastic, very sweet little dog, just scared, but doesn't really want to be. I mean, it was so fascinating watching her learn, seeing her actually have a thought process for the first time instead of just blindly reacting in the way that she's always reacted, and then just watching those eyes go soft and her changing how she was looking at me, and then coming to me of her own accord to get a treat, and happy for me to fuss her. I mean, it was just lovely, really, really lovely to watch, and lovely to watch Gemma just looking so delighted that she's actually got a starting point and knows that we can get this dog to a point where she can have people in the house again and not have to be strung out all the time, and not have to lock the dog in the crate constantly and have her still barking when people move around. So it was just wonderful. Really progressed very, very quickly, and yeah, just love it when it doesn't always happen that quickly. Don't get me wrong, sometimes to get to the stage we got to today, it can take weeks, but I think because Chloe's got that collie brain in there, she's just very, very clever, and I think underneath the fear, she's actually a friendly dog. You know, she wanted to be friends with me, and I think once she realised I was this lovely treat provider, she was like, okay, you're good. Providing I stay calm, I'm gonna get these treats, I can do that. So yeah, it was really, really lovely, and learned the heel work incredibly quickly. No pulling, no switching sides, just yeah, a few little different techniques, and a change of lead was all that took, and she was fabulous. We couldn't actually do a lot of walking today because she's her hip a bit, I think, doing too much. I think she said she was playing too much yesterday or something, and she was limping on her hip, so absolutely not going to push that. And to be honest, like I said earlier, we did such a lot with her anyway that I didn't really want to go into a load of off-lead recall stuff. So we touched on that in the garden. We're going to start the process off with the e-collar conditioning because we're needing that for the territorial aggression anyway. Now, we do sometimes, but a lot of the time, all it takes is having the lead on, making the dog feel safer because they've got a lead on, doing some corrections for the barking on the lead, and we don't really need much else. The leadership rules, using the lead properly at the door, training them to go somewhere, all of that is really, really common way of dealing with the territorial barking and that sort of thing. Now, what I did in that session was change the lead because she was on just a flat collar and a clip lead, which wasn't helping because she was just being restrained on the end of it, as you saw in the original video. So we switched that immediately to a slip lead so that we could do a little lead pop to correct and then straight back to slack so that we're not restraining, which is absolutely vital. But the problem with that, this dog was so sensitive that the lead corrections were actually making her worse. So literally just using a simple slip lead correction was scaring her and making her bark even more and really get frantic. Now obviously that's the last thing that we want. So as soon as I saw this, don't forget, I've seen this before, I've been doing this a very long time. The moment that happened, I immediately stopped everything and said, right, we can't do this with this dog. All right, the lead corrections are actually too much for her. Now, what a lot of people don't realise about e-collars is that when they are on very low levels, which is primarily what we use, not that we need to worry about levels because you need to use what works for your dog. So I'm not saying that low levels are better. They just, I think people don't realise that the low levels are so low, so mild, that they are less than a pop on a slip lead. Okay, so whereas the slip lead corrections were, for want of a better word, upsetting the dog, certainly were ineffective and actually stressing her more. The moment we switched to an e-collar, which I then knew was going to be the only way we were going to fix this, because I needed something that I could have that was going to be milder, to actually be less than what was happening with the lead corrections. And the only tool that will do that is an e-collar. So the moment we switched to that, we got instant results. The dog, Chloe, lovely, gorgeous Chloe, was actually a real sweetie, just responded so well to it. You could definitely see that it wasn't upsetting her in any way. She wasn't fighting back against it. It didn't make her worse like the lead correction did. It actually just instantly calmed her down. So that's why it's always really important to have someone that's very experienced with these things, so that when you're working with the dog, and for example, you might have watched a million videos, you might be trying to train in the same way that you've seen your favorite dog trainer train on a video, and that's lovely. But the problem is, if it's not your dog that you're watching being trained, you might be doing, I was going to say the wrong thing, but you might be doing the wrong thing for your dog. What's the right thing for one dog? So in a lot of cases with that sort of territorial barking issue, a slip lead is fantastic and works really, really well, obviously coupled with everything else. There's always more than one piece of the puzzle, but I'd say for the most part that'll be the first thing that we look at to use, because it's simple, it's cheap, it's easy, and if it works, brilliant. But you need to have a trainer that's experienced enough to instantly know whether that tool is going to be right for that dog. And with this particular case with Chloe, she's got a real sensitive collie temperament. Yeah, there's a lot of terrier in there, and I think that's what's causing a lot of the going into fight instead of flight, because what I could see with her is that the collie part of her wanted to retreat, whereas the terrier part of her was all about, no, I need to deal with this. So I just wanted to just add in that, we didn't just go instantly, right, bang, e-collar. We certainly don't do that, bang, e-collar with every blooming dog. It's not a tool that is needed at all for every dog. But certainly when you've got a dog that's really sensitive, where even a lead correction is too much for them, as was in this case, then the e-collar becomes the best tool, because it's milder. It's actually milder than anything else. So it's just a really interesting little fact about the collars, that whereas people associate them with, well, people have just seen the propaganda which says, oh, they're horrible, blah blah blah, they're really mean, you shouldn't put one on your dog, it'll damage the relationship. I mean, that makes me laugh because obviously today I was the one that used the collar with the dog, and I'm the first person other than her owners that's ever been able to fuss her. So if it was damaging to the relationship with the dog, that wouldn't have happened, would it? At all. So that sort of thing, you know, that well, it's a lie, basically. The lies that are spread when you actually witness what happens is really, well, it's funny, but it's sad, because people are actually missing out on doing some really great work that they could achieve when somebody has told them something that isn't true. You know, they've read it online or seen it in a video, or, you know, somebody said, oh, you mustn't use it because it's cruel and it damages the relationship and it just makes things worse. I've heard all of this stuff. I've had abuse for using these tools, and I will continue to use them because I know, because dogs don't lie, I know that often they are the absolute best thing for helping that dog to be happy, calm down, live a happy life. So it's just really interesting to me that we can literally witness it. We can see it perfectly on a video, what happens when you use the right tool for that particular dog, and the change can be quite dramatic. Whereas if we had persisted with a tool or a method that the propaganda says is better, for example, trying to get those treats out and reward her before we had calmed her down, would not have been in any way helpful. A, she wouldn't have even taken the treats because she was too nervous, and B, if she did take the treats, you're just rewarding her for being fear aggressive. So we always have to find a way that corrects that fear aggression that's going to work with that particular dog. Like I say, they are all different. So yeah, just thought that was useful bit of explanation. So why not use it for the recall training? It's going to be the safest way of getting her off the lead, and yeah, she's already understanding the tool, so why not? So we're going to start that off with some basic recall conditioning, which Gemma can do in the garden quite easily. I've said not to really have her off the lead until that, and she needs to rest that hip anyway. So in 3 weeks time I will go back, do the second session and see how everything is in the house. So the second session of package E is always another house visit, so that we can have a look at the issues in the house, see how they're getting on. I mean, if she carries on the way she was today, I think she's gonna be great. But yeah, we'll go back to the house, have a look at that quickly, and then I think predominantly work on the recall next time. But yeah, just overall just absolutely over the moon with that. It's so rewarding when you see them change that quickly, and like I say, it doesn't always happen that quickly, and just because your dog is taking longer with a particular issue than another, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong. It's just your dog's different, you know, they're possibly different breeds, takes them longer to pick things up, or maybe their conditioning is more ingrained, or there could be a million reasons why some dogs take longer than others, and patience and consistency is absolutely essential for any form of behaviour work and training. You know, some things you can do really quickly, but what you've got to remember is also, because the previous conditioning is in there and has become a default, just because it all went really well today, that doesn't mean it's going to go off really well tomorrow or next week, because this is a process. We've got to get rid of that ingrained, conditioned behaviour and thought and state of mind and create a new one. And even though it's gone really well today, that doesn't mean that it's all suddenly fixed. We've got to keep doing it. Repetition, and consistency is the key to absolutely everything. So now that Gemma knows exactly what she's doing, there's no reason she can't. Sorry, this is a really dreadful junction, having to just have my back to you constantly. Crikey, be here all day. So yeah, now that Gemma knows what she's doing, everything's going to become a lot easier. And already, you know, watching her confidence raise so much in the course of that session, that in itself is going to be a real game changer, because now that she's feeling really confident, obviously the dog's going to pick up on that and she's going to feel a lot more confident. So yeah, it was just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Loved it. Whole reason why I do my job. And I will see you again next time.